Hi, I'm LordMouse, and today I'm going to show you how to get your custom music into Initial D6, the arcade version of Initial D, or one of them rather, which is now emulatable on the PC through Technoparrot. Without further ado, I'd say let's get started. So, I've already prepared a folder over here, so it's easier for me to do the tutorial in. You need unXWB, which is in the description. You also need the DirectX SDK, Source Development Kit, from March 2009. This is very important. Any other version is not working because it's a different version for the files you export later on. Link to this is also in the description. I also have a paste bin to this file, songfiles.txt. It's basically sorted by the songs that are in game with their name, which they appear in the file. So they need to be named like this, otherwise the game can't find them later on. And there's also like 2 songs that I haven't found in game yet, that are also not in the exe if you open them with a hex editor. You also need ffmpeg to convert files later on. This batch file over here I will just supply, as well as a paste bin. It's probably in the description as well by now. I've made an empty project folder later on for the DirectX SDK stuff. And I've also prepared some songs, which also have a files over here, so I know which file is which one in game. And just for convenience sake, I've already renamed them. So the first thing you want to do is probably unpack unXWB to another folder. Doesn't matter, you could have just put it over there. So now we can open a command prompt over here, and if we run unXWB, you'll be greeted, like if you run it without parameters, you will be greeted with some parameters you can supply. So what we want to do definitely is the -d and directory. So in this case, I'll just create a new folder and call it out, so I know that's the files I have later on. We also want to have it as -b with the XSB file and the offset. The XSB file contains the information in regards to the audio files. For us, the most important thing are the names, because we later on want to have the exact names again. So what we want to do now is go to the Initial D folder, data, sound, and just copy these 2 files over into this unXWB folder. Takes a while. And then we can already start. So we want unXWB, I always type it wrong, I always try to type unWXB. -d out, so we have it in the out directory, and then -b, we will say initd6.xsb, I think it is. Let's just check again, yeah. And then we need the offset. To get the offset, you can use a hex editor of your choice. Drag this XSB file in here. Just scroll all the way down up until you see these files, or like these names rather. You want to find the one, if you go by the original one, that starts with Bunta or R000. You want to go here, and you'll see you'll have 2BB72. Now, I haven't tested this, I also don't want to test it. We're just going to open a calculator in programmer mode, and just put 2BB72 in here. It will give us 179,058. So what we want to do here, just put 179 of F8 in here, and we have this, and we just press enter. It says can't open file because I was not supplying the file at the end. So this is the full string. It's probably also in one of the paste bins or just in the description. You let it run, and it's exporting those files, or rather extracting them into the out directory, which now has all these files. Wonderful. Now it's gonna do that, and I'll just cut the video here and be back once it's done. Alright, so the files are now unpacked. If we go to the out directory again, we see the files, and those are all the files that are in game. For example, the voice messages the voice clips rather, and such. But the files that we're most interested in are the AVEX files over here, because those are the songs that are being played in game. Like the ones that you can select before you start. So with this out of the way, unXWB is done. What we want to do now is copy this out folder, or rather we can just extract, cut it and put it over to the ffmpeg folder where we have created by now. It's gonna move the files now once again. See how long it takes. Otherwise, I might just cut it over here. No, it's fine. Okay, good. Now, that's the wrong way to do it. We want to rename this to in. So for convenience sake, you could have just outputted it to in. And we go to out. So we have an in, we have all those files in out. The reason why we have to do this is because the XWB file contains the audio files in ADPCM format. ADPCM WAV. That's a specific codec which is good for compression, but we can't import that to the project in XACT, like in the DirectX audio creation toolkit. So what we want to do is we want to get all those ADPCM files over to PCM, ultimately getting rid of the ads in the ADPCM. So this is why we just convert them from what they are into what the result will be. Ultimately, we're just converting WAV to WAV. We'll just let this run. It's gonna go for like a couple of minutes again, so I'm gonna be cutting the video here and I'll see you in a second. Alright, so we're back. The conversion just closed itself. And we're greeted with an out folder with all the files which are now in PCM. Once again, those are the interesting ones. So, you now have this out folder, right? Let's get over to the DirectX SDK in that case. What you want to do is you download this, you just double click it, it's gonna tell you, do you really want to install that? An unknown source, probably. Perhaps not, because I've copied it to another folder. We'll see in a second. Yeah, there you go. You want to run this file, yada yada yada. You just run it, then you go for next, you accept this, you do not want to participate. And over in this window, you want to like disable these. I already have it enabled, but you want to disable all these. You just want to enable DirectX utilities, which automatically enables the DirectX runtimes. You want to install that, and that's it for that step. So you got that done. You then want to open the XACT tool, which is the Microsoft Cross-Platform Audio Creation Toolkit, in which you make a new project, you bring it over to the folder that we have. Added an old folder in which I was playing around. So let's just call this ID6. Right, now you got your project. So the first thing you want to do is you want to create a compression preset, and you can just call it whatever. And you want to set it to 32 samples per block, which is the... Technically this is biggest for initially in regards to compression. You could also have no compression preset. I have not tested if that works. I also do not want to test it. If I remember correctly, when I tried to do it without a compression preset, XACT crashed because it can't save a temporary file bigger than 2 gigabytes. And with all the files we'd be around 2.8. So 32 samples per block is what Sega used, because the file that is going to be coming out later is going to be the exact same size if you use all the same files from the ffmpeg directory without changing them. You can put this higher, which makes the file smaller in the end. I haven't seen any difference in regards to exporting speed, so it doesn't make too much of a difference. So what you want to do is you right click wave banks now, and you create a new one. You call it init6, init6, whatever you want to call it. Well, whatever you want to call it. It has to be called like that, otherwise the game can't find it. You want to set the compression preset over here to the one we have created. You want to set this to streaming, this is very important as well. And that's it for that part. Then you want to create a sound bank, which for convenience is just going to be called the same. And you have these two windows over here, so we're going to make this one a bit bigger. So the first thing you want to do is go to the ffmpeg folder, into the out folder, you select everything, just drag it in here. This takes a bit to load the files in, and once we're done with that, it's gonna have the files over in the wave bank, but we're not really done at that point, because it will only have the reference to, like, it will only create the XWB file. If we would only replace the XWB file with these that we have in now, the game would play different sounds depending on which sound it would actually play. At least that's what I remember, because it's in a different order. When I tried it with just this, it was playing voice clips as music files in-game, which was pretty stupid. So when I tried to play the music, it just played this. And like for example, an audio clip of, let's say, Nakazato. And we don't want that. We actually want music in game. So we now have all of these in the wave bank. We can select all of them, and we're just gonna drag it over into this window here, which will create the sound bank accordingly. Well, at least it adds the sound names. Once again, not done with that yet. We also need to drag them down to the queue file here, or the queue name list. Queue list. Once it's done. Okay, we have all of these still selected. We're just gonna drag them down here. Once it's done there, we're just gonna save the project for convenience sake, because crashes are bound to happen. And I can show you what I mean by that in just a second, once it's done. So, you might remember that I have made a folder with songs, which just had all these MP3s in them, and then a renamed folder, because we have them renamed. Reason being is that, let's just go for this, let's just say we'd be adding a new file, right? Okay, saving, almost forgot that. Let's just say we'd, I don't know, add this Katamari in the rocks. Oh, MP3 is not supported, so what you want to do here is, once it's done with this, so it's slaying a bit. For example, just open up Audacity or whatever DAW, like digital audio workstation you want to use. You might as well just use ffmpeg. Like I could write a quick script with ffmpeg that just exports them. Would work as well. So what we want to do is grabbing this folder. You can do chains in Audacity. It's like it doesn't really matter how you convert them to WAV, but I have a couple ones here. Like, for example, the default one, MP3 conversion, and the OGG conversion, which I needed for something else, and then the reconversion to WAV, which is basically, if we just check this, the reconversion, it just exports them to WAV. So let's just apply the reconvert WAV one to all these files, except the TXT file. You stupid. We're just gonna do this. It's gonna load it in, export it, load it in, export it. It's good to do that for all the songs, and once it's done with that, I'll see you again. Alright, so once it's done in Audacity, if you use Audacity, it's just gonna do that, and it's gonna be done. So, now we don't want to save this project. We now have all those cleaned files, right? So all the WAV files. And we still have this one saved. Let's just save it again. And let's, once again, for example, put the Katamari song in again. It's gonna load a bit, because it needs to reindex all the files in the wave bank. And once it's done, we are greeted with a name of the file that is not going to be found in game. So the next step you would probably think you would go for, you would just put all your files in and then rename them in the wave bank here. But what happens in this version of XACT is, if I just rename this to, let's say, AVAX 17 Katamari, surprise, this works. Technically, you shouldn't do that. The whole time, this is perfect example of the demo effect. The whole time I tried to do this, XACT was crashing because it couldn't find a proper name for these files. I don't know why, it just crashed. But sure, let's just go with this. I'll just put these files in here. Quickly grab the type. It's gonna remove all those MP3 files. Right, and I'll quickly be copying them over to the renamed folder as well, and then we can go on. So just renamed all of these. You also see that there's one file over here which is an original Sega track and not one of the AVAX songs. So, like, just an extra song. So now you have all these files, but if you were to put one of these in now, XACT would throw you an error because, oh no, the file is already there. What a bummer. So we need to find the AVAX tracks over here. Select all of them up to 15? I'm having the 15th song. I think you can select it in-game, whatever. Either way, if we were to delete those now, it would tell you that the wavebank entry is being referenced by another object in the project. So we would ultimately remove them over here. which we can't do either because these are being referenced as well by this one. So we want to remove them here first. I can find them once again, so up to 15, we're gonna remove them. We're also gonna go down to the Sega track and remove this one as well. Then we'll go over here again. Oh, come on. Come on. Okay, let's do like this then. Remove them over here. Go to the Sega track, remove it as well. And you'll see that they go in italics once you remove them, because they're not indexed anywhere. Remove those as well. Remove this one as well. So now we have all those tracks gone, and we can start adding them again. So just select all of them, put them in. It's gonna load a bit again, and once it's done, you can drag them over to the sound bank window again. So first the sound names, so game knows which names, and then you're gonna add them to the queue. And we're still not done after doing that, because the music and all the sounds in-game would be pretty quiet compared to the rest of the game. So, well, like, it doesn't matter where you put them. I can put them in between one of those files. Doesn't matter. But just for convenience sake, I'm just gonna put them right at the bottom. Now we have all of the files back in. And what I was talking about in regards to the volume, you see if you select one of these, that the mixing down here has it set to -12 decibels. I've tried with -12, I've tried with 0. 0 is a bit too loud, so I think the sweet spot is like 6 or 3-ish. What you want to try to do is like select everything over here. You just have to do this here. Let's put everything on -3, right? And it has everything on -3 now. What you additionally want to do, it's like totally up to you if you want to do that. You want to put the songs to a bit lower than that, so you can actually listen to what the characters are saying. The game puts it fades the music out a bit, or like makes the volume lower automatically, but the music is still a bit too loud, so you kind of want to just fill around with the variables. I haven't found the sweet spot yet. Once you're done with that, just save it again, and then you can just build the project. What you also want to see is like we have a 1 gig file here now. It's gonna be a bit bigger than that, than what it says here, but yeah. So ultimately you just want to press this button over here to build the project. Don't want any reports, fuck reports, we don't need them. And it's just gonna go through the files and then builds them. So at this point it's just a waiting game again. So once it's done exporting, I'll see you guys again. Alright, and we're back. We're closing in on the final stretch of the exporting. You know that it's the final stretch because it's doing the final songs over here, AVX 10, AVX 11. Draw the last files in the wave bank. Once it's done with that, this thing's just gonna close. You can just save the project again. And if you go to the project folder now, which is over here, we'll have a Windows and Xbox folder. The Xbox folder is empty because we didn't export anything for Xbox, but the Windows folder is containing 3 files. An XGS file, which I don't know what the fuck it does, and 2 of these. So we have the XSB and the XWB. Oh, we remember those, right? We're just gonna copy them, go over to the initial D folder, data, sound. For convenience sakes, we're just gonna rename those for the original ones. We're just gonna paste them in here. So you see, those are different sizes, this is a different size. That's basically all there is. You can now play the game. And we're just gonna try it out. I'm gonna run the dump JVS manager, I'm gonna start the game. I recommend you to just use a list so you know which songs are which. In this case I'd know, okay, AVX02 is the Silver Gunner DK rep meme song. So this is just a meme song pack. I don't know why I did this. Just thought it'd be a funny thing. It's reason why Breakpower's in and you repost it in our own neighborhood. So you then know, okay, this is Matt Desire, and now you just need to find Matt Desire in game. There's the handy dandy song files list that I had as well. So you can now see, okay, Matt Desire, Matt Desire, Matt Desire. Oh, that's track 11. Okay. So you then know you need to select track 11 in game. I mean, oh, it's the wrong one. And then you can just go with that. So yeah. Remember that we had track 11, right? Like, I could select any of these tracks and they would be different, but we want to check on track 11 because we want to see if it really worked. So we should be greeted with brain power now, if all works fine. And there it is. That's how you get custom music in-game. I actually think 6 decibels for the rest of the files and 3, like -6 and -3 is a pretty good combination. Because you can still hear the voice clips pretty well. So now we're just gonna go for some awful driving. Because I don't have my steering wheel set up properly. That's fine. But yeah, that's how you get custom music in Initial D. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe. I also do other meme videos. Occasionally, like not that much recently, but yeah. Check out my other videos if you are up for memes. And let's hope this might not be the last video for Initial D. I'd like to do more tutorial videos, definitely. Share this around, put your own music in the game, especially things like Deja Vu, which never made it into any of the games, which is very surprising actually. Like, not because Deja Vu is just an overused meme, it's just a good song and it feels like it's missing. That's just one of the tracks. People have said they want to get the first stage OST in, others want to get, for example, the actual battle songs in for the specific characters, which is kind of difficult to do because track 1 is also the same track for the next one, for what's the next character called? Don't have it in my head right now, but yeah, it's not really in order, so yeah. Alright, that's it for the video. I'm closing in on the goal in a second. And I actually have to say, it's a good audio volume leveling there. You can change the song's length, you can... like, I'd recommend having them more than like 2 to 3 minutes, because otherwise the song would just stop here and you need to set it to looping. And I can't remember which of the songs actually need looping. So with this setup right now, there might be that the menu music might just play once and would just stop. Other than that, it's pretty solid. After figuring out what was wrong initially, it worked quite well. Like, it was instantly just stuff working. But yeah, that's it for this video. I held you in here way too long. I game over it. I'm gonna end the video. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you can get more kicks out of Initial D with your own music. And goodbye.